So we are talking about a spirituality coming to you. So the Lovers, I think, is going to be, for a lot of you, at a very deep emotional realm. Now, don't forget too that for those of you already in established relationships, you're not looking at upping or starting a new business, this can be about your current relationship, and it can be about bringing the bond back into a relationship or working through it and going back to that point where you first found this exaltation and love, this connectedness, this awe and wonder about each other. So some of you may have lost that, and you may be thinking, how do I find that back again? And this card here has come to you saying spiritual strength. So the number 9 often represents coming toward an understanding of a journey that's been taking place for some time, or gaining more knowledge about it, or gaining more strength about it or around it as well. So if some of you have felt like you were about to give up on this certain project, whether it be looking for new love, or whether it be healing old love, or starting a new business, sometimes this even means a new pet coming into the house as well. But if some of you have felt that it's time to give up, or you were wanting to move on, you're being asked not to at this point. You're being asked to apply some extra emotion and spiritual wisdom and knowledge to the situation, and that will either support you to help you get through it, or to help you evolve, or to help you find other answers. So go back within yourself, or go back to practices that you have been doing in the past that have tended to be, really insightful and uplifting, I think is the word I was looking for, whereby you gain some extra peace or some extra dividend from the universe that helps you to understand how to move forward, especially if you have been a little bit stuck around this area. And this is even for those of you who might have been looking for new love and you haven't had success coming in. You have to keep going, but you have to broaden the knowledge base a little bit, or broaden your perspective, or call in some of the big helpers around, the celestial helpers. And remember, at the beginning of the video, I said that we do find in April, with the overall connective spiritual energy that flows around the planet, that there is an ability to tap in a little bit deeper to celestial help. Let's see what another one might be for you. This is also very similar to a tarot deck. This is the Energy Oracle deck, when I can shuffle it properly. I had shuffled all the cards in the beginning with you guys in mind, so it doesn't have to be a full shuffle at this point in time. And actually, I think that is it. So what do we have underneath it? Oh, wow. I love it when the connection to the universe is really there and it's poignant and strong. And I have felt kind of like a lot of connection lately around, especially with the things that are being said and the events taking place and the messages that come through to me as an individual even. But we were just talking about the fact that you can call upon or connect with at a greater level to the celestial help that's around. And I've said to you that the white light energy comes down, and it's things like the Christ energy. Well, in real terms, that picture on the card is the depiction in my mind of Christ. They don't actually say it in the book, but it is very much like the image of Christ himself, and it is the white light image, and there's an emanation from the heart, which is where, of course, we feel love, which is going back to the Lover's card again. He's also getting a great deal of illumination from his head and his mind, telling us that thoughts can be uplifted or enhanced or healed. If there's any worrying thoughts or negative thoughts around you, there can be healing brought to the mind as well. So the mind and the heart are connected emotionally, because our mind is, in essence, our soul, and our heart is the physical dynamic of that as well. So the mind and the heart are very interconnected, and when we have feelings that are either down or we're doubting ourselves or we feel we can't find a solution, we need sort of a healing or an activation in both of those areas, and this healing card is going to help enable to do that. So do call upon celestial advice or help or support if you have any struggles in these areas that we've been talking about in this first column. The colour palette is very beautiful there. I'm picking up so much glorious green, and of course green again is the heart chakra, and it is the healing chakra, and it's very much also the healing energies of Raphael. So we can pop any of the beautiful greens around the stones, in which there's there's three sitting up here anyhow, which can help to infuse more beautiful, healing, uplifting, positive, thought-creating energy. The other thing with the healer of the card, the healer of the ages, is some of you may be on a journey to become healers, and this may also find much activation at this time. So you might find this physically, you might find sensations starting to happen, like you might be able to feel the heat or the tingling in your hands. You might feel it across the heart, and especially up here on the crown chakra area and the third eye. So some of you might get very strong messages in the month of April, and it doesn't surprise me because Pisces, you are probably, Scorpio, really two of the top ones that receive spiritual messages and are very psychic yourselves anyhow, and tuned into the spirit world. So I think that's a great way to start your reading off there. You have some beautiful messages. You've got gorgeous cards that have turned up, and this one also adds up to 6. So you've got the 2 6s, that's the 6, and this one here is 9, and even if we turn it upside down, it's 6. So the number 3 could be coming through here as a message for you too, and of course that's the Trinity number or the holy number. So yeah, the deeper you go into that column and the longer you want to spend analysing it personally yourself, I think you will find like hidden answers or hidden messages for your own predicament in life as well, or for the things that you're looking at finding answers to or awareness to. And if you look at the rest of these cards over here, we have a much bluer palette merging, all this beautiful symphony of green over here, and then we're merging into this blue. So blue is much more about communication. It can also be about the throat chakra part of the body. So when we come to this Hanged Man, the Hanged Man is often about a stalling process. So feeling as if things aren't moving along quite the way you want. And that 9 of Wands, the spiritual strength over here, he really talks about that too, as a feeling that you've been, going along this journey, whatever it is, for a while and not feeling as though you can move to the next stage. Well, the Hanged Man has a very similar disposition about him, and in traditional tarot he has an illumination around his head, very much like this. So I'm getting a lot of illumination of the mind for you guys in this month of April. You might find that something is answered, or something you finally understand, or you are getting a greater connection to your life's journey or who you are, or you are just finding this like aha moment. So the Hanged Man can talk to us about taking time out and reanalyzing situations so that you might feel more aware of the decisions you're making. When we take time out, it's like respite or having a rest or having a break. And when we do that, it enables us to analyze more succinctly certain directions or options or ways to go forward, or how to reach our goals in a more healthy manner sometimes. So he can also represent being at a crossroad to having to make this decision. And we talked about choices over here, and we're still representing choices here. So slow it down and think about your choices that you are making, and do some sort of due diligence around them and some sort of homework, and say to yourself, you know, what if I took this option and what if I took that option, and write out a list and really go into it a little bit and see how your heart feels when you're writing the list. See what sings to you the most, what feels the most benevolent and positive, and that's the road that you normally should be walking down. If you think to yourself, yeah, I can see this option A, there's like this I'm not sure about, and I don't think that's quite right, but yeah, I'll take it anyhow. You can almost be guaranteed that a few months or a couple of years down the track, you'll wish you hadn't taken it. So the Hanged Man is the preface of a warning, if you like, but it's not really a warning. It's a card of invitation to see the good possible opportunities around you and the amazing opportunities that await you. It can also represent a bit of a stall in time, so things being held up for one reason or another, and that's something else. So if you are waiting on something to happen really quickly, things might slow down unexpectedly, which could be an annoyance for you. But remember, the universe makes the timing decisions, and timing is always right. So what it is always meant to be exactly as it is right at that moment. So let's have a clarifier here for the Hanged Man, and we thank you for that. Clarifier for the Hanged Man, thank you. Wow. And that's number 9. It's actually upside down, but in an oracle deck it doesn't matter, and I've probably put them upside down. So we had 2 9s dealt from the John Holland deck. The fact that that's another major arcana, you really have got quite a big reading here for you guys in April, with all these major arcanas jumping out as well. So number 9 is the Hermit card in the traditional tarot, and the Hermit is about taking time, going into a place to find higher awareness and a deeper understanding of the whole realm of life. When you get cards like this piling up together, and the messages are very, very similar from the Hanged Man and the Hermit card, that's very powerful information for you to digest and take on board. April could really be a time of spiritual illumination or spiritual awareness and answers and growth. So I think it's a personal month for you guys to analyze situations, whatever they be around you, where you have to contemplate your position in the things that are happening. So it's not so much about perhaps other people, it's about your internal choices, your decisions, your ethics, morals, your integrity values and things like that. Now the Solitude card or the Hermit card, it's always known as seeking wisdom of the ages, and she holds a book, like an ancient book of knowledge, on her hand there, and she is learning it. And she is learning it by taking time out, by spending time on her own and finding inner peace and listening to her soul's messages, you know, like your higher self, your spirit guides. You just find those sort of answers when you have a bit of solitude, peace, rest, and harmony in your life. So this column here is flowing very much on in through into here as well. I think that this column resonates or is directing itself to have one of these cards chosen for the reading, and these are quite intense. They're very spiritual messages. These are done by Nari Anastasia, and they are called the Cosmic Reading cards. So we will just shuffle here for Pisces and ask, what is the further clarifier or message for them around this, you know, spiritual illumination or awareness, and messages perhaps that are coming for them. Some of you could find a heightened interest in your spiritual journey of life or your connection. Some of you might find yourselves asking what life is about. You know, why are we here? Some of you might go into further education or religious or spiritual practices. There's definitely some sort of presence and there's some sort of connection for you guys. I feel it's, you know, really rather beautiful. We felt it right from here, and it is just flowing in here ever so gently. This one here is hope. So, and it's number 16, so we're back with another 6 again in the messages. But what I'm going to do is read to you for the message of the card. Behind the passing dark clouds, the sun still shines bright. Feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, afraid and defeated are a few of the symptoms you can experience when passing through an emotional storm. All is not as it seems. The passing storm will uncover suppressed emotional energy that is in need of clearing and balancing. As challenging as it may seem, see the passing grey clouds as an opportunity to grow, learn, heal, and transform limiting behaviour and patterns and beliefs. It is not about staying positive through the storm. It's about understanding and truly seeing the imbalances and wounds within you that attract this energy to your space. Clouds do pass and will continue to pass until you learn to truly see the underlying message and lesson. Only then will you transcend the fear and irritability of any challenging cycles. Once you are able to understand your magnetic connection to the challenges that surround you and heal those imbalances with love, storms will cease to affect you as they once did. For now, there is stillness and hope in knowing that the sun still shines bright behind the passing dark clouds. It is then, through this renewed clarity, inner knowing and strength, that you will be able to manifest a life of choice. For no more will you see passing storms as a destructive force to be reckoned with, but rather an opportunity to evolve to higher states of conscious understanding. It is through this act alone that you are reborn to a world of wondrous manifestations and fulfilled dreams. You can say a mantra or a prayer that she has inscribed here for this card, and it says, Holy Spirit, please guide me to see this situation with deeper clarity, love, and understanding. And the chakra that's associated with this is the sacral chakra. So it's quite a deep message. It makes me feel that if some of you have been going through any times where you have felt this kind of like inability to understand or connect with problems or issues in any area of your life, then these messages here have kind of very succinctly gathered to say, take some time out, rethink the strategies, find the higher awareness, find the higher answers, connect to your greater self, to the more global aspect or awareness of life and of the cosmos, and therein you will find the peace and the answers that you're seeking. But both of these cards indicate this kind of feeling of solitude, and we mentioned before that in solitude you find what it is that you need, and you are able to analyze situations and restructure how you think about them, and know that there is nothing that you can't get through. And the more wisdom, knowledge, clarity and awareness you have, the more hope that you are able to bring into your life as well. And then all the manifestations and the dreams become a reality. And speaking of that, we move to the Ace of Swords, which is an ace, which is great. The Ace of Swords is the one that is tinged with a little bit of a barb, as we can sort of see from looking here. He holds that sword high up in the air with these two kind of wreaths hanging off either side, as if to say, stick it. You know, I've won, I've made the success, and I'm the champion. And that is what the card represents. It's often like a battle or a duel that's been fought, and you've come out on top and you've won. But you've won at the cost of something. So sometimes this card can turn up when there are things like a separation that's heading into full procedure. So as if you've been on the cusp of wanting to separate from something, whether it be a business partnership, a relationship, or a romantic, like a marriage or a long-term commitment, and there might have been fighting and coming and going from it, but eventually you get to this place where there is a triumphant outcome, a success, a parting of the ways to enable movement forward, because the aces are always about new beginnings. So it's like saying goodbye to something that has been a bit traumatic or has been lengthy in procedure to get you to this point. It can be the sign of divorce papers turning up for signing. It can be something being nulled, like the dissolution of a business or an association or a commitment or a relationship. So it bodes success and positivity heading forward. Let's ask the angels for a little bit more clarity around what this might be. Asking the angels for clarity around the Ace of Swords. Compromise. And that is the way forward, especially sometimes when the Ace of Swords has turned up, there is a lot of like attention. It's like we're determined to win almost at all costs. We're determined to prove our point. And sometimes if we do compromise, we get balance much quicker and we get resolution much quicker and we get outcomes and we get movement forward. So if some of you are still wanting to battle when the Ace of Swords turns up and perhaps documents turn up for you to sign, they could be legal documents, it could even be things like buying a house or buying a business or starting a new business, and you've been trying to negotiate what you want and it might not all be there for you. You're getting a really strong message about the act of compromising and saying, yeah, okay, look, I think we're 80% there, so perhaps we'll sign the deal. So I think we're 80% there on moving forward away from the dissolution of this business, so let's just give in and do it. So compromise is a really big task maker around creating success for this and having you guys move forward into the next step. So don't be too stuck on determining, like